Good morning, right here from the West Coast. One more time, we have a special guest today for all of you, and this is our very first correspondent from Europe. Her name is Allegra Nasi, and she covered the 2011 Nationals in Italy and 2014 Nationals in Italy and the Brazil Nationals. Allegra, good afternoon. How are you?
Hello, everybody. Hello from a rainy afternoon in Impuria Brava, lockdown also. Very good to see you guys.
Very good to have you back with us in the studio. It's been quite a few years since we worked together.
Wow, yes.
Yeah, and we tried to do a couple of things here and there over the last few years, but somehow timing didn't quite work very well for us. But we love to have you on our team, and we hopefully have the opportunity to do something together soon, live at one location.
Yeah, it's been an amazing experience. I met you guys right at my start into skydiving. So it was a super, like, you guys were kind of part of my beginning in this sport that, like, everybody, it kind of takes your life and says, oh, you had this plan, wait, and you end up living in Empuria Brava. That's kind of what, but it's a pleasure to still be in contact with you guys because you were a big part of the skydiving adventure.
Right on.
And the Brazilian Nationals as well.
That's right. Yes. So for those of you who don't know, Allegra is a skydiver and also a journalist. So she's a television personality. She's very, very well formed and rounded around television. And as our first correspondent, we had quite a few adventures together. So Allegra, tell us, when you first learned about Skydive TV as a skydiver, what was the first thought that came to you?
But honestly, I think it's like, to me, working in the communication and television, I believe a lot in the power of something as visual as skydiving. So I thought it was actually a really cool idea and a privilege to be part of something that tells the story of something I'm so passionate. I think that's what, like, and I think it's also it's a sport that it's a little bit difficult. Not everybody thinks of becoming a skydiver. So to have a place where you can really understand what the drive is behind the people who choose this as a sport and as a lifestyle. I think it's amazing to have a channel that speaks to skydivers about what they love, and at the same time speaks to non-skydivers in terms that are understandable from an outsider, and hopefully that'll make them fall in love with this as much as we all have.
That's right. Yeah, well, that's the idea behind it, just to broadcast the sport and make sure that it becomes more of a mainstream and popular than anything else, and to take all that stigma and thoughts of craziness out of it. So in 2014, Skydive TV hadn't been in Europe at that time. We hadn't been in Europe at that time, and you were our first voice in Europe for Skydive TV. When you got to the Italian Nationals, tell us, how did everybody approach you and Skydive TV? Was it interesting? Was it new? Was it, we don't know what's going on? How was the whole experience there?
I think it was we don't know what's going on, but very in a skydiver way, which is open. We love it. Anything. I've all felt that that's part of this world that's amazing. Whatever the side of it, you always feel incredibly welcomed. And so it was a little bit new, especially this was like, for some reason in this sport, 6 years, which in some other parts of life are a long time. In this sport, a ton of things happened and it changed a lot. And back then it was still, I remember the Italian Nationals, there was, I believe, maybe one free fly team. It changed a lot with now there are tunnels in Italy, there are tunnels in every country. So I've seen the sport change a lot. So it was still something very new. It was interesting to be part of. But as always, skydivers are always open and welcoming of everything and everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. It took a little for everyone to get used to you, but then did they open up to you, or were they a little held back?
I think usually held back is until you start talking about passion. Yeah. Everybody chooses this because they have it in their soul. So as soon as you start talking about something that's passionate, you kind of forget the either reserves or shynesses you might have.
How different?
But I think everybody's very open also to this sport and this passion being seen. So I think everybody is very, very jump on the train of helping out. At least that was my experience.
Yeah, that's cool. How challenging was for you to cover these nationals, because you went there on your own? You produced the entire project basically by yourself with a cameraman. How challenging was to put this project together?
Actually, I had worked for like 10 years on a small television in Italy covering a sport, and the format was kind of that. It was kind of a cross between journalistic, but maybe not quite as only factual. So it was pretty much just taking, it was pretty much just taking a format that I had done for a while and putting it into a world, and everybody was incredibly open. I remember that we shot in Fano. The Brazilian nationals we shot in Piracicaba, and then I believe we shot an event in California. And everybody was as skydivers are. Like if you ask for help, you have like herds of people coming over. I can do this. I can do it. It's amazing. It's a privilege to be part of this community.
Very, very cool. So Allegra, aside from Skydive TV, you're also involved in several other projects that are skydive related. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your projects?
That would be amazing. Yes, I started with Will Penny, who is one of my very close friends. We all have the privilege of living a life that not everybody has, and as a way to kind of give back also to the sport, which you guys are part of it. Most people who are watching are probably part of it. It's a sport that gives you. It gives you whatever you need, it gives it to you. If you're missing a family, it gives you a family. If you're missing confidence, it gives you confidence. If you're missing, I have goosebumps. Like maybe I might even start crying. I'm Italian, so emotions get. But we started this foundation. It's a little bit hard for me to say we started, because in reality, this is something that in the end, Will and I kind of formalize. It's an idea that was born with a bunch of people to give back a little bit more formally. And we started a foundation called Carol Foundation, which in 3 or 4 years has kind of found, I guess, its real identity. And now it hinges on 3 projects, which are the Sky Family Fund, which is a fund that helps skydivers and base jumpers when unfortunately there are accidents. And we've actually helped several people around the world. Then another project which was supposed to start now in June, but with the coronavirus we had to postpone. But we'll be giving 3 scholarships to become tunnel instructors to children from centers of kids at socioeconomic risk. And we're going to do the first one here with Windor, and we've had interest already in Brazil, in the UK, and in France to replicate it. So we all know what, again, flying gives you what you need, and plus in terms of career, it's a big possibility. So, and the third project, we're going to be starting a blog in the next 4 or 5 days, in which we're going to be trying to initially center all the information that's available on how to be a sustainable skydiver. So where we can cut corners to, we're all, I think the majority of skydivers are very careful, but still we get on airplanes, we still do a sport. So the idea is to kind of centralize and try to get people on. There are drop zones. Empuria Brava is now carbon neutral. There are a bunch of drop zones that are starting to jump onto the train of erasing the carbon footprints, just kind of wanted to try to centralize everything. So those are our 3 projects. And again, it's amazing because these things are things that can only happen and go forward if people jump on board. It's always a we thing. It's never never works on things like this.
That is
and
correct.
We've had events where everybody participates, they give what they can. It just makes me fall in love with this community more and more every time.
Well, this is very cool. These are 3 really interesting projects, and whatever Skydive TV can do, we would love to participate in any way we can. So good luck with all of them.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So I want to go back to 2014. Skydive TV was in its infancy, and very few people really knew about Skydive TV. So at that time, when you go back, do you think that skydiving as a whole worldwide was ready to have its own media.
But it feels to me, I don't know if it's because I'm part of this community, so I notice it more, but it seems to me also in the mainstream advertising, it's become, since 2014 to now, it's become, it still stays kind of niche, of course, but it's become more mainstream. And I think that, I mean, that is thanks to media and people who take the time to actually put together information and communicate.
Yeah, and the internet age and the mobile devices and all these small visually attractive things that help promote the sport. But
Yes.
do you think the sport at that time was actually ready for its own media?
I think so, because it has evolved so much. So obviously it was looking to be told.
Yeah.
So I think that the also I mean I think that in the end the biggest test is if people watch, it means that it was ready to be told. And it seems like you guys, from what I saw, from when I started with you to now, it seems like you guys have done a lot as well. So,
and here we are, fast forward 10 years, we are celebrating the 10th year anniversary. Did you think that we will be celebrating 10 years?
I think good ideas always have a pretty long life, no?
That's great. So anything that you want to say to our viewers, anything that you would like to, spread out and, the wish to our viewers, and where do you think Skydive TV needs to go from here?
Well, I think that it's Skydive TV. I think that I'm falling in love with the sport every day more. It's becoming, also thanks to the new technology, the same story is starting to be able to be told in so many different ways. So wish for Skydive to be is to keep, for Skydive to be TV is to keep being a vehicle, adapting to the new technologies to keep telling more, better the story of life that we all chose. And as far as the viewers, I think especially in moments like this where most of us are on standby, possibly, I don't know if there's a place where they're still jumping today in the world, but when a lot of us have been but not able to get out of the houses, to maybe once again go look into skydiving for what we're needing, which is to keep the passion by imagining that moment in the door when you can breathe the sky, and we all know what we're talking about. So maybe just to once again look into this passion we have, fill the hole that right now is more of a coronavirus induced hole.
Yeah, well, thanks for everybody. Allegra, I want to say thank you very much for joining us this morning. It's always a pleasure to work with you. You are an incredible professional, and we look forward to continue working together. So thank you very much for everything that you have done, and we really, really appreciate everything you do. So stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you.
We look forward to come to Europe and work together on some of the bigger projects one of these days, and hopefully sooner than later.
Yes, and thank you very much, you guys, for being part of my whole skydiving adventure, for the time today, and for what you guys are doing. And hopefully 10 years we'll be together in another to celebrate the 20 with more big projects under the belt.
That would be absolutely awesome. Well, stay safe, Allegra. Thank you very much. And
likewise. Hope to see you guys in the sky soon.
Yeah, all right. There we go, guys. Thank you very much for watching. We will continue these broadcasts with Italian nationals and Brazilian nationals. So please stay tuned and enjoy our Allegra's actually broadcast that she created for us in 2014. Everyone around the world, stay safe, stay healthy, and we look forward to our next broadcast to continue with the 2015 events that we've shot from around the world. Stay tuned, stay safe. My name is Semi Vasiliev, and you're watching Skydive TV.